Pizza is an Italian dish typically consisting of a flat base of leavened dough topped with tomato, cheese, and other ingredients baked at a high temperature, traditionally in a wood-fired oven. Pizza is now a dish loved around the world, and there are so many ways and so many styles to make it. And today we react to FutureCanoe making a deep dish pizza by binging with Babish, deep dish pizza being beloved by some and hated by most New Yorkers. But did you know you can also make pizza on the stovetop? Well, our man Ranveer Brar shows us what's up. Before I go on with today's episode, I do want to give a special shout out to my amazing new patron, NorCal. Thank you so much for your support. And with that said, on to the reaction.
Deep dish pizza is not only not better than New York pizza, it's not pizza.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a casserole.
Oh, I was gonna say cake.
A cake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a cake.
Yeah, it's like a cake. It's like a savory cake.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. I like deep dish. I mean, in small amounts, you know, but if I had to choose, New York pizza all day. Yeah, for sure.
Pizza's pizza.
Yeah.
8 1/4 ounces of room temperature water,
2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast,
2 1/4 teaspoon of active dry yeast,
a teaspoon of sugar, which is going to act as a nice little
That
snack
voice.
for our yeast while we let it bloom for 10 minutes.
a teaspoon of sugar as a snack for me, and then another teaspoon of sugar as a snack for the yeast.
Did we
Give it a
react to
little
this guy
mix
already?
with-
Yeah.
What?
Well, we haven't reacted to him in a while.
But what?
Last time we reacted to him.
Did I enjoy it?
You did.
Oh.
Yeah, you liked him.
He had the same voice?
You had the same voice.
While we wait for the yeast, we'll prepare 12 1/2 ounces of all-purpose flour.
2 1/2 ounces of medium grind cornmeal.
I'm gonna use masa for this recipe, and this genius plan has 2 reasons. 1, I don't have cornmeal, and 2, I'll explain in a sec.
1 1/2 teaspoons of kosher salt.
1 teaspoon of sea salt.
Okay, cornmeal and masa, both coming from corn, but are completely different products for sure. Different textures.
And different results.
Different results. So now FutureCanoe is notorious for just swapping out ingredients, and that's what we all love about him, is he just don't give a but if you are following recipes, don't be so quick to just swap stuff.
1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar.
Cream of tartar is also known as potassium bitartrate. Has a pH range from 3.5 to 5. The acidic nature of it will affect the gluten structure of the dough, making it more tender and delicate. On the other hand, a slightly more alkaline dough would be more stretchy and pliable. Our dough right now has a high pH because instead of cornmeal, we used masa, which was soaked in an alkaline solution. Babish chose to add the cream of tartar for an acidic dough with the best flavor.
Go ahead and tiny whisk to combine. Make sure that everything is all good and homogeneous.
Then we'll ligma fork it to combine to homogeneous.
Last time we reacted to this guy, he has this limp fork. And let us know in the comments, what's this limp fork about?
Like it's what, limp?
Yeah, it's just yeah, you'll see later. And it's like in every video.
And then it's time to get it wet, or rather add it to the wet ingredients.
Is that
Then
a
it's
shtick?
time to add it to the wet ingredients, or rather get it wet.
Goes along with 1/3 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil.
Then a little more than 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil.
Affix dough hooks and get to stirring.
Affix dough hook will get to stirring.
See, that's the
let this
fork.
go on low speed for 1 or 2 minutes until the dough clears the side of the bowl.
I'll let my ligma fork go on low speed for 1 to 2 minutes till it looks like old scrambled eggs.
And then we're going to crank up the speed to medium and let it knead for 7 to 8 minutes.
And then we'll switch
Really?
to our hands to knead for 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
But even if you measure everything exactly, it might end up a little bit too hydrated like mine is.
My dough is at its perfect dryness because my hand is incapable of making anything wet.
That's so good. I love this kid. Just FYI, kneading dough in a mixer and you're doing it by hand is going to require a lot more time. It's really important to knead dough to develop the gluten. That's what makes it stretchy, and also will make it more tender, because by being more stretchy, the air pockets the air pockets can actually develop and grow, make the dough grow in size. If you don't develop the gluten, it's not stretchy. It'll be like more of a cakey texture.
Did you all get that?
After we tug the dough into a ball, we'll oil up a bowl and then rest for 90 minutes.
And while Chicago pizzerias generally use aluminum pans, at home our best bet is cast iron.
While most home cooks worship the cast iron, my best bet is a non-stick pan, which is also the only thing I have.
Which, along with a liberal lubrication of vegetable oil, is going to help our pizza brown more robustly.
After we let a liberal lubricate with oil, we become more robust.
Just gently press and stretch the dough out.
Okay.
This kid's awesome,
I'm
right?
getting it
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I'm getting
I
it.
knew you'd like him. I
Yeah.
knew you'd like him. Even though you don't like deep dish, I knew you'd like this
Okay.
kid.
Now we'll
Why is
stretch
his
the
dough
dough and
speckled?
push it up the sides
he
of
used
the
masa.
pan.
It's going to resist a little at first, but that's okay. We're going to let this rest under cover of plastic wrap for 20 to 30 minutes.
My dough basically had no resistance. I think it's ready to bake, but just in case, I'm gonna cover it and let it rest for 20 minutes.
It's enough time to talk about tomato sauce. So we're just going to make a rudimentary marinara sauce.
Listen, as far as the technique goes and my comment with the gluten development, if you knead the dough by hand, I mean, this kid's doing it beat for beat. I see no issues with anything here.
Finely chopping half a white onion.
Now we'll
My
finely
Italian
chop
grandmother
half of
didn't
a
have
white onion.
a mixer.
Oh, yeah. You're 43%?
My French grandmother had one. She was spoiled. Ooh, nice skills.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to dice an onion.
And smashing and peeling a few cloves of garlic.
I don't have a garlic crusher, so I'll mince about 4.
1 28-ounce can of
The
whole
side of
San
your knife
Marzano
is your
tomatoes.
garlic crusher.
Whoop. Hope I didn't squirt you there. We're putting them in a bowl and crushing them by hand.
Squirting is not allowed in my house, so I'm just gonna start cooking and crush it later.
Adding our chopped onion and sweating for 2 to 3 minutes or until translucent around the edges.
We're gonna sweat the onion and garlic till it's almost translucent.
Adding a pinch of crushed red pepper flake,
I don't have that, so I'm gonna use some oregano,
a little shake of oregano, and
and then some oregano,
a little shake, a little big shake of basil,
and finally finish off with oregano.
along with 2 to 3 tablespoons of tomato paste to deepen the flavor.
Now I'll add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste about 2 minutes
Oh,
ago.
I love
Once the
that.
tomato
I love that he
had leftover
yeah,
tomato
and he
paste
put
in
it in a Ziploc bag. Yeah.
Actually, that's a good way of getting all the air out of it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because the air is what's gonna potentially,
A better step would be like to
Spoil
flatten
it.
it out and then leave it in the freezer and you just break it up.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit of caramelization. We can add the tomatoes.
Wait, did he
What?
draw his own tomato can?
Did he what?
That's
oh
a-
yeah.
He drew so he has no spot. So,
No. He's not advertising anybody. Oh, speaking of advertising,
Yeah, but he had to go out of the way to do that.
he did go out of his
I
way.
like this.
Don't buy this sauce. Okay, this is our signature sauce with Samsa House. Shout out to Samsa House. Samsa House has appeared on Hot Ones, and he asked us to collaborate. This is gochujang
À l'orange.
à l'orange.
No, I say à l'orange.
Okay, gochujang.
À l'orange.
And this sauce is a combination of my Korean upbringing with gochujang, Korean chili paste, and
Hence why you're saying the Korean word and I'm saying the French
the
word.
French word. Yes.
Because I'm Frenchy.
Yes, I know that. Yes, sir. Yes, chef. I'm sorry. Don't buy this sauce. Link in the description below. If you buy this sauce, I'll be very upset.
Now we'll add a can of whole peeled tomatoes and then crush it with my Ligma fork as such.
Ligma fork. He's calling it Ligma fork. What's
Why do
that
I know
mean?
that word?
Yeah, what's
Ligma?
Ligma?
Lick my balls?
Simmering for 20 to 30 minutes.
Scrape the bottom and sides once in a while so it doesn't burn.
Nice and thick, and when you drag a spoon through it, it parts like the Red Sea. You get it? I thought it was funny.
So humorous. I dying laughing. I dead now.
We want our sauce to become a thick paste and the spoon to become James Harden.
James Harden always looks like he's just about to lead the Israelites through the Red Sea.
And by this time, our dough should be nice and relaxed, and we should be able to press it up against the sides of the pan, and it should hold its shape with ease.
Pause. Let's rewind it real quick.
It should hold its
Isn't it shrinking?
shape.
Yeah, it's retracting back a little.
That dough is shrinking back like me in the nervous situation. My dough is looking pretty unattractive right now, so we're gonna punch it down and spread it. Make sure the size of the crust is
His
pretty
looks
thick, because
actually
just like
better.
my last
This looks
weekend,
great.
it's
I think he's having less resistance of his dough. His dough is giving him less resistance because he didn't develop the gluten as much. That's what I think it is.
But after cooking, whose is going to be better though?
Right.
Texture-wise.
Right. But with deep dish pizza, are you looking for the crust texture? Right. I mean, it's all.
I've never had a good dish.
I've had a couple of decent deep dishes. I like deep dish for when I'm in Chicago.
Then before we lay down the cheese, we're gonna start by laying down the sausage. And yeah, this is raw sausage, which is weird, I know.
I mean, pretty normal for me. Before we layer the sausage down onto the dough,
Pretty
we're gonna
normal
remove
for
the
me.
casing around it. The professional culinary term for this process is called circumcision. Once they're all evenly laid out, we can start adding the cheese.
It's topped with cheese, sauce, and more cheese. Same cook time and temperature, 425 Fahrenheit for 25 to 35 minutes.
Babish's pizza looks great.
Yeah, but it's not, stop saying pizza. It's not pizza.
Pie.
Yeah.
Now on top of the sausage, according to Babish, is
Pie.
traditionally
It is a
topped
pie.
with
It is
a
a
layer
pie.
of deli-style
Provolone,
and
yeah.
mozzarella. Now it's time to add a layer of tomato sauce, just enough to hide all the cheeses so that it looks healthy. Just in case there's not enough cheese in this dish, we're gonna grate some Parmesan on top. And then right before it goes into the oven, we'll drizzle some olive oil on top and around the crust. And our deep dish is ready to bake. It looks pretty good,
Nice,
but
it
it's
looks
heavy
great.
as hell. It's gotta be at least 10 pounds. Like me when I was born, into a 425-degree oven for 30 minutes.
Baking until this happens.
I baked it until this happened.
And then it's time for the heroic act of getting the pizza out the pan. You just have to trust the pizza's structural integrity and out it will go.
I do trust the pizza's structural integrity, but the thing I don't trust the most is myself. We're just gonna do what I'm the most good at and just pull it out.
And then you want to wait at least 10 minutes before cutting in and serving.
Yes.
I did not.
Very important to wait
Yeah, you're basically letting everything rest.
and settle.
If you cut into anything straight out of the oven, whether it's protein or anything, juices will spew out. You just want everything to equalize.
That's what she
That's what she said. Ah!
I am gonna wait for 10 minutes because I'm not that hungry. I'm still feeling a little sick from lunch and I don't have any friends. Although this is a perfect time to check with you on Instagram to see if you're proud of me.
Okay. Point of view,
Me on my
on my
period.
period. So you finally made a portal to hell. How you managed to overcook and undercook at the same time. I would pay 50 cents for that. I've seen people with 3rd-degree burns look less burnt.
No cheese bowl. He's trying.
Yeah.
It's a little bit pathetic, but I guess apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Overall, I'd say this is a pretty good looking deep dish
Yeah,
slice.
I don't
the
want
sausage
any of
is
that.
cooked all the way through.
I'll
and
eat the
cheese
shit
is
out of
nice
that.
and
No.
melted.
Yeah, you
I think
would,
I might have
but I've
made
seen
the
you eat
crust
garbage.
too tall on the sides because it's a little overdone. Now it's time to grab our ligma fork, taste it, and rate it 1 through 10.
Damn. Yeah, no.
The deli-style provolone and mozzarella are so stretchy, I can drag it across the whole screen like this. The aromatics and the spices from the sausage is perfectly complemented by the simplicity of flavor provided by the sauce and the cheese. But I have to be honest, the crust does not taste good at all. It's hard and dry. It tastes like a sponge and a cardboard had hate sex.
Okay, so number 1 is because he used masa. That's going to be a big contributing factor. But the main thing is that he didn't develop the gluten enough. And when it proofed, you know, because the dough wasn't stretchy, it wasn't able to aerate.
I'll give my pizza a 6 out of 10, but Babish recipe 9 out of 10.
What's happening here?
Alright, thank you.
What was the
Ranch dressing.
what was that about?
I have no idea. Maybe that's another shtick he does.
Oh, okay.
How'd you like that? It's fun, right? Glad.
Definitely not. Did not make me hungry.
Did not make you hungry? I'm hungry.
You're a defect.
Frenchy, call me whatever you want. I don't think that looks half bad. The crust definitely isn't gonna be too great. FutureCanoe said it himself, but you know what would make that even better is a 5 CBD high potency 10 milligram Delta 9 gummy, the sponsor of today's video. 5 CBD offers 3 types of gummies, each uniquely crafted to give you the perfect feeling for all kinds of situations. Surge is similar to a sativa effect, so you keep your vibe, but you still get done. Vibes is similar to a hybrid, which provides a nice relaxed feeling, but still allows you to be productive. Then there's my favorite chill, which is similar to an indica effect, which is my favorite because I love to be in the couch, binging some TV, or playing guitar all night and then crashing out and sleeping like a baby. Everything's made in the USA using US grown hemp, and it's no wonder that they have 20 million jars sold. If you're still on the fence about Delta 9 gummies, just know that 5CBD is one of my absolute favorite brands, and I've been taking edibles for nearly a decade. 5CBD is so confident in their products, they're giving my viewers the opportunity to try it for free. Here's your chance to get a free 10 gummy packet delivered straight to your door. All you have to do is pay for shipping and be 21 or older. Visit the link in the description below to take advantage of this amazing offer from 5CBD today. Well, I have another video prepared for you today.
Good.
This is by our favorite chef to react to on this channel. This is by Ranveer Brar. Yes, Ranveer Brar makes a pizza. TAWA pizza.
उसकी इजाद कहते हैं 1889 में हुई। एक शेफ थे राफेल एस्पोसितो, और उन्होंने ऑब्वियसली नेपल्स के थे, वो साउथ ऑफ इटली के थे, और उन्होंने रानी को खुश करने के लिए इटली के 3 रंग का पिज़्ज़ा बनाया। लाल होता है, सफ़ेद होता है, हरा होता है, और लाल सफ़ेद हरा उन्होंने जो पिज़्ज़ा बनाया वो पिज़्ज़ा मार्गरीटा, क्योंकि क्वीन मार्गरीटा थी उनके नाम से फेमस हो गया। तो आज भी मार्गरीटा पिज़्ज़ा is still considered the oldest pizza or the first pizza to be ever invented.
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, there was a version of pizza without cheese and tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like before they brought tomatoes from the New World, right? If I'm not mistaken. But he did mention the pizza we know of today. I think so. And all this is accurate.
Oh, actually margarita pizza, like a tomato, like a plain tomato pizza.
ये मैदा है जिसमें 30% मैंने आटा मिलाया हुआ है, इसके अंदर थोड़ा नमक डाला हुआ है, और साथ में बेकिंग पाउडर, बेकिंग सोडा है। अगर आपके पास समय है तो रात में ईस्ट डाल के खमीर लगा के छोड़ दें, लेकिन अगर मेरी तरह तुरंत आपको आइडिया आते हैं लास्ट मिनट कि चलो पिज्ज़ा खाएं, तो बेकिंग सोडा, बेकिंग पाउडर आपके पास होना चाहिए।
Okay, I'm glad he explained that. So yeast, there's 2 ways to leaven dough. One is chemical and one is natural, I guess you can say. Natural will be with yeast. The downside is that it will take time. It takes time for that dough to rise, whereas with baking soda, baking powder, it's instant essentially. However, the texture with baking powder and baking soda will be a bit more cakey. So think of cupcakes, think of sponge cake, you know, things like that are typically always made with baking powder.
एक सुंदर सी कटोरी में बेकिंग सोडा, बेकिंग पाउडर, तेल डाल के मिक्स करना है। ये गया दही, ठीक है जी।
3 teaspoons curd.
अभी
That was an interesting way of introducing the baking powder and baking soda.
So rule of thumb for at least how I was taught
mix all your dry ingredients.
All your dry, all your wet, right? And then you introduce wet into dry.
Because it'll be guaranteed uniformity.
Right.
बेकिंग सोडा, बेकिंग पाउडर का, और ये थोड़ा पानी और डाल के एक पतला सा डो बनाना है। ये देखिए बिल्कुल ऐसा, देख रहे हैं ना आप, डो जो है वो रनी होना चाहिए। अगर रनी नहीं
I do want to mention, if you make a dough with baking powder and baking soda, in my opinion, and I haven't made, you know, a pizza dough with baking powder and baking soda, I don't think the gluten development is going to be as essential, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is not my dough for a pizza.
Yeah. You know, he's saying if you want a pizza in 30 minutes from A to Z, okay, I totally agree. Going that route is definitely the fastest way, because with a yeast leavened dough, you're gonna need at least an hour just for the dough to rest after you initially mix it. So I totally agree with him there. But to me, a baking powder leavened dough for pizza, the texture of the dough is gonna be more reminiscent of like your frozen pizzas.
Yeah,
you know,
back to cakiness.
Yeah, back to cakiness, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh, that's a good example. All those frozen pizzas.
Yeah,
and all
those are all.
And even the cheap pizzerias, like what do you call that?
CC's Pizza or Little Caesars.
Yeah. Elio's.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
जो बहता हुआ डो है, इसको हल्का सा रेस्ट करेंगे। और जब तक ये रेस्ट हो रहा है
Yeah. So he definitely didn't mix the dough enough to have significant gluten development. But no matter what, whenever you work with flour and mix it with water, there will be some gluten, and you do need to let it rest regardless, even if it is with baking powder. Lots of veggies. But this is for an Indian audience. This is who he creates content for. Many Indians are vegetarian.
Speaking of which, we've been on the Indian continent on the Asian continent for a while now. Are we gonna explore any other continent?
Yeah, this is pizza. and the last episode we did duck à l'orange.
We did?
Yes.
Done. अभी एक पैन में ऑलिव ऑयल या कोई भी ऑयल, बटर नहीं डालना है यहाँ पे जी.
Don't use butter.
बहुत कम बोलता है.
You could always use butter.
इसलिए प्लीज बटर मत डालना. ऑयल से ना अच्छी एक शाइन, एक रिचनेस आती है. That's very important.
Actually, clarified butter would help that dough.
You're right. You're right. It would add a certain level of savoriness.
Yeah.
A chemical leavened dough definitely is not as savory as a yeast leavened dough. And it's because yeast is a living, breathing thing, and all the byproducts it leaves behind when it leavens the dough definitely affects the flavor. 1000%, 1000% here. I like that he's sauteing the vegetables first, essential.
Lightly saute करना है, सब्जी को पूरा नहीं पकाना.
Saute lightly, don't cook it completely. Agree.
ये oven में नहीं, पैन में पक रही है, इसके लिए थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे पकाना जरूरी.
This is really important for something like a dough where you're using this as a topping, because if you don't remove some of that water content, if you put those raw as a topping, all that's just gonna, number one, it's gonna taste watery because there's still so much water, but all that's gonna slip right off, even more so than if it's been blanched off or cooked off.
It's gonna dilute.
It's gonna dilute the flavor. Yeah. Nice little color. Tomatoes,
तो ये सब्जियों को,
not a huge fan of tomatoes on top of pizza personally. It looks nice. I see it all the time at pizzerias, but not a fan.
और सब्जी के अंदर इसके बाद डाला chili flakes.
Tomatoes and tomato sauce are two completely different experiences.
1000%.
That do not go well together.
Even so, many people when they make a sauce, a pizza sauce, there are many people who don't like to cook that sauce, which I'm in that house, because you should put a thin layer on it. It should go into a super hot oven, and basically that process of putting it into a super hot oven will cook that sauce from raw. There are some people that like to cook their tomato sauce, to each their own. For example, Ed Cotton, I use his recipe. He doesn't cook his tomatoes for his tomato sauce, but he's going for that like brick oven, wood fired type of pizza, just super hot in and out, and you retain more acidity that way. But even raw tomato sauce tastes completely different from just sliced tomatoes.
सब्जियों को निकालते हैं.
Okay, nice.
Nice. Oregano, chili flake, onion. That whole Mediterranean feel, that's coming through. कोई अभी तक हमने हिंदुस्तानी नहीं करी.
True. He didn't put in any Indian twist into this whatsoever.
इसको कलर खराब ना हो.
It's actually a good side salad.
फ्रिज में डाल देते.
Yeah.
तो बेस का
Your antipasto.
रेस्ट कर रहा है. टॉपिंग रेडी हो गई. बचा क्या? पिज्जा सॉस. पिज्जा सॉस के लिए, क्विक पिज्जा सॉस के लिए, फाइनली चॉप्ड बारीक कटे हुए अनियन, गार्लिक.
Yeah, garlic and onion pizza sauce.
अभी बनाना है
1000%.
तो गया थोड़ा ऑयल. ऑयल में गार्लिक, अनियन, हल्का सा स्वेट करना है बस. उसके बाद फ्रेश टोमेटो प्यूरे. अब मैंने टोमेटोज को ब्लांच नहीं किया, छीला नहीं, सीड नहीं निकाले, कुछ नहीं किया. पूरे टोमेटोज लिए, उनका पूरा टेस्ट दिया. मतलब अननेसेसरीली टमाटर से टमाटर का हिस्सा निकालने में मेहनत क्यों की जाए, है ना. अगर आप थोड़ी मेहनत करना चाहते हैं, फिर भी फ्रेश टोमेटो को प्यूरे कर लीजिए, उसके बाद छान लीजिए उसको.
Okay, tomato puree. Preferably San Marzano tomatoes if you can.
थोड़ी सी शक्कर. थोड़ा केचपी बनाने के लिए हमें केचपी अच्छा लगता है ना.
Depending on who you are, vinegar and sugar are a huge no-no. Again, he's probably making this for his audience, but I've never put sugar in my pizza sauce personally.
I've never been a fan of like a sweeter side tomato sauce.
Yeah.
Even for like all across the board.
Yeah. And for us, that's personal preference. He added vinegar. That to me is okay depending on the tomatoes, right? If you have really good tomatoes, they should have a balance of sweetness and acidity. But if you're finding that the tomato puree you're using or the canned tomatoes you're using...
I never understood adding more of its own essence. I like cutting. I like contrasting.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is it also depends on your tomatoes, right? Like if you have really high quality tomatoes, then you don't need to add anything else theoretically. But even like a good, like it depends on the season when those canned tomatoes, the tomatoes were put in the can. Maybe they're not as acidic. You know, that's something you have to judge and taste in the moment.
That's why your recipe starts at the supermarket, like picking out the right ingredients.
Yeah.
बिल्कुल थोड़ा सा oregano, थोड़े से chili flakes.
Are you a proponent of like tomato sauce like that? There's a magic window. So either you cook it just right, but then if you cook it too much, then you really have to cook it. Then to cover your ass, and you have to really let it.
For pizza specifically?
No, in general, tomato sauce.
I think it depends what you're going for, right? Like remember when we did our spaghetti and meatballs? I mean, that tomato sauce was really stewing.
Yeah, that's an all day.
Yeah, that's an all day type of thing. I like both, and it comes down to what's the final dish you're trying to produce. When it comes to a spaghetti and meatballs, I want a super rich stewed tomato sauce, but when it comes to tomato sauce for pizza, I want very bright and light and acidic.
और ये सॉस का पानी अच्छे से सुखाना है, नहीं तो फिर डो को गीला करेगा ना, मज़ा नहीं आएगा. इसको यहाँ कर देता हूँ. अभी भी देखिए रनी है, भाग रहा है. ये कुछ इस तरह का होना चाहिए, देखिए. ठीक है ना?
Is that his dough?
Mm-hmm. Looks good.
ये डो को थोड़ी देर और रख देते हैं ढलने के लिए.
Oh, the leavening process happens during cooking, and it will happen to a degree once you add water to the baking powder. But once you add heat to it, that's when the leavening happens. Versus a yeast leavened dough, where it's happening from the moment you mix everything together to the moment you cook it. It doesn't stop until essentially you kill off the yeast. So that's another reason why there's such a different crumb structure to chemical leavened dough.
It's called a tomato concasse in Italian.
No, that's in French.
अब इस डो को बिल्कुल धीमी आंच पे दोनों तरफ से सेकूंगा. एक तरफ से अच्छा बराबर सेक लूंगा और दूसरी तरफ से बिल्कुल नाम भर का सेकूंगा.
Wait.
What's up?
He's gonna cook his dough separately and then he's gonna assemble the pizza together?
Well, let's watch.
As you can see ना, there's a rise. जैसे पिज्जा बेस उठता है, वैसे ही उठ रहा है. धीमी आंच पे पकाना है बस. That's the trick. ये देखिए जैसे पिज्जा बेस का कलर होता है वैसे कलर.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah. You can see just from the.
नीचे की साइड को आराम से पकने देंगे और जो साइड हमने पका ली है ऊपर की, उसके ऊपर डालेंगे टोमेटो कॉन्कैसे. भाई आमतौर पे हम सब जानते हैं कि पिज्जा जो है वो इटली का है, लेकिन पिज्जा जो वर्ड है
fresh grated mozzarella. You know, I'm glad he's using that. When you use the pre-shredded stuff, there's usually some type of starch or something mixed in with the cheese,
so it doesn't stick together.
So it doesn't stick together. So a perfect example is if you have a cheap pizza, you go to a place like you get like a DiGiorno pizza, and you see that the pizza's like burns really easily. Yeah. The cheese burns really easy. That's because the starch on the cheese is burning before the cheese can actually caramelize. If you use fresh grated cheese, that's where you get that consistent color of melted cheese.
के जो फ्लैट ब्रेड्स हैं उनको ग्रीक में ऐसे दबा के और उसके ऊपर ऑयल डाल के, शक्कर डाल के, मेथी डाल के और पकाया जाता था, और वो जो गांठें बन जाती थी ना तो क्लॉट्स बन जाते थे, इसलिए उसको क्लॉटेड कहा जाता था. तो पेक्टोज मतलब क्लॉटेड ब्रेड. तो पेक्टोज मतलब क्लॉटेड ब्रेड या वो गांठों वाली ब्रेड, और वहाँ से फिर पिज्ज़ा जो है वो इटली आया एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट. और इटली में खासतौर साउथ इटली में खासतौर नेपल्स में टमाटर जो है वो गरीबों का खाना था। टमाटर बहुत होते थे, तो द पुअर मैन जो गरीब थे वो अपनी रोटी के ऊपर ऐसे हल्के से टमाटर तोड़ तोड़ के डाल के और उसको बेक कर लेते थे, और पिज़्ज़ा की शुरुआत वहाँ से हुई। आज की डेट में नेपोली जो है वहाँ के सॉसेस, टोमेटो सॉसेस आज भी बहुत फेमस है। और जो ये कौन कैसे कह रहे हैं, वो दैट सॉस इज एक्चुअली नेपोलिटन सॉस।
I'm not sure about tomato concasse is authentic sauce recipe from Naples. No, I don't necessarily agree with that.
But we know we don't hold anything against him, do we?
No. Listen, I will. There's something I want to make very clear, and when we make comments about Ranveer's stuff, listen, Ranveer is like a master chef out there, and his wallet, just like Gordon Ramsay, is a lot bigger than ours. You know, he's far more successful than us, so we know where we stand. And I'm going to say this very clearly. That pizza is not my cup of tea. I don't think it's a great pizza, but
is no pizza.
Give me a chance here. I would agree with you on that too. But all his technique is sound.
Oh yeah. It'll be good for what it is.
It's good for what it is. I do agree this is the fastest way to make a pizza from A to Z. And even from the choice of using baking powder for his dough.
And all his fresh ingredients.
Everything is completely sound. Technique-wise, there's nothing wrong here. And this is a good example of a chef who can mess with a classic, but he's still employing very sound technique, obviously, because he's a master chef.
Or just to hold the vegetables together. अभी मेन चीज क्या है ना, हम लोग गलती क्या करते हैं कि सब्जियां नीचे डालते हैं, फिर उसके ऊपर चीज डाल देते हैं.
That's a nice point, like putting cheese on top of it to hold it all together. That's
very sound. Yeah. That remember I mentioned the vegetables have a lot of moisture. It's going to slip off. That's a great technique.
That's
again, we love you, Ranveer Brar.
पिज्जा जो है वो इतना सुंदर होता है, सारा बाद में चीज से वो ढक जाता है. आपको वो नहीं करना. आपको जो है वो रंग निखारने, इसके लिए पहले चीज फिर सब्जियां, वरना आप बनाने जाएंगे वेजिटेबल पिज्जा, दिखेगा चीज पिज्जा, लोगों को मजा नहीं आएगा और आप कहेंगे रणवीर आपने बताया नहीं. रणवीर ने अपनी जिंदगी में 4 साल सिर्फ पिज्जा ही बनाया सुबह से शाम, इसलिए रणवीर ने बताया है आपको.
Okay, look at that. I mean, you know, we both said that that's not pizza. But if you put that in front of someone, they're absolutely going to say that is a pizza. As far as what we enjoy from a good pizza, it's not really it, but I will eat out of that. And there is I have zero negative comments to say about any of the technique he used.
It's nice and juicy, huh? मतलब
sure it is.
सब्जी बराबर पक गई है, चीज बराबर मेल्ट हो गया है, अंदर से एकदम पक चुका है, एकदम क्रिस्पी.
Okay, that looks great. That looks great.
दिखाता हूँ आपको.
Look at that bottom. Yeah.
Nicely done.
All right. Eating our words.
थोड़ा सा olive oil drizzle करेंगे.
Even that's a nice finish.
That's very nice touch. You know, a good extra virgin olive oil will give that little pepperiness. Like it.
Beautiful.
You're beautiful, Ranveer Brar. You are.
Moral of the story, next time, जब आपको लग रहा हो कि भाई
make your own dough out of yeast,
पिज्जा घर में आ जाएगा, तो 2-250 रुपए
I will say,
मुझे दे दीजिएगा.
I think the fact that he used a cooked tomato sauce for this application is the better way to go about it as well. Because you're not going to get that super high heat from the pan. In fact, you don't want that because you're going to burn the shit out of your dough. And you'll burn the shit out of your dough before the cheese even melts, as opposed to a wood-fired oven or even just a regular oven with a pizza stone in it. Because of that, if you put in the raw tomato sauce, it'll never get cooked. It won't get that added depth of flavor. So yeah, fastest way to put together a pizza, 100% agreed.
कोई नई रेसिपी सीख लेंगे हम लोग. It's not that difficult. खाना जब एक बार हाथ से बनाना शुरू करो, अपने हाथ से बनाए हुए खाने की जब आदत पड़ जाए ना, तो आदमी बाहर से खाना मंगवाना बंद कर देता है.
I also think,
I think that's one of those
home recipes
steps in life. Like everybody should cook a pizza.
Yes, I agree with that. I think this is actually a great recipe for someone at home wanting to get their, you know, their feet wet, try it out. Maybe they're trying to level up their cooking at home. I like it.
But do the yeast recipe.
I'm okay with this recipe. I don't hate it.
Do the yeast recipe.
I don't love it either. I'm okay with it.
That was it?
That was it. You had a good time, right?
It was a very mellow, chill.
Yeah, mellow, chill.
Yeah, nice.
All right, yeah. Frenchie, there's something I got to tell you. Lost Becomes just dropped a new track, Broken Mirrors, featuring Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage, one of my all-time favorite bands. Stream it wherever you stream music, and be sure to check out the music video, link in the description below. Check it out. Thanks a lot.
Broken mirrors, tell me your biggest secrets. I'll break the vows.
Before we close out this episode, I do want to say to all of my amazing patrons, thank you so much for your support. I really couldn't do this without your help. And for the rest of you, please consider becoming a patron by visiting the link in the description below. By becoming a patron, you get to take advantage of some awesome perks like early access to new episodes and patron exclusive content. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did making it. And remember, it always gets better. And with that said, I'm Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef.
Finish your plate.
And we'll see you really soon. Say bye to the wide cam. Bye.